How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video, and today's video is on captaincy picks for game week 3. If you haven't done so already, make sure to leave a like on the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Both of those help out the channel greatly, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, make sure to follow us over on Twitter and Twitch. It's PilotFlame226 on those platforms. Twitter is where we post little bulletins of what videos are coming out this week, as well as where our FPL League code is. And we are also going to be doing streams over on Twitch on Friday and Saturday of this week. Friday is the Game Week 3 preview stream, which is going to be at 7 p.m. EDT, as well as a deadline stream on the Saturday, and that's going to be 1 hour before the deadline starts. Last week it was 5 a.m. EDT, so it should be around a similar time. Just remember, it's 1 hour before the deadline. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first captain we have on our list is Bruno Fernandes. Now, not doing too well in game week 2, and at the time of recording, which is the Monday after the Manchester City game, Bruno Fernandes was 10.5 million, around 22% owned, and had a game week score in the previous game week of 2, which wasn't great. However, he does have a very favorable fixture versus Brighton. He did have 3 shots in the game versus Crystal Palace and 5 key passes. However, shots were outside of the box. You know, probably a bit of a frustration in most of them there. But he still is on penalties, and if we've seen in pretty much all the games this weekend and last weekend, there's going to be a lot of penalties this season, and Bruno Fernandes is one of the better penalty takers in the league, if not the best. He just doesn't miss, really. And Jorginho even missed his first one in a long time, and people thought he was impervious, doing like the little, you know, hop, skip, jump, which Bruno Fernandes does as well. But he kind of mixes it in with just kind of a direct penalty, which is why he's so unpredictable and why I think he's so good on them. Also, another thing to note is that Bruno Fernandes is the type of player to be very successful in away fixtures. So he had 8 goals, 8 assists when playing for Manchester United in the Premier League last season. 6 of his goals and 2 of his assists were away from home. And the last time he did play Brighton, you guessed it, he scored 2 goals against them in a pretty one-sided affair. So I think Bruno Fernandes is definitely up for the captaincy choice this week. A lot of people are getting rid of him almost immediately. I think hang on to him for at least one more game week. They do have a pretty decent run of fixtures, having to play Spurs and Newcastle shortly after the Brighton game. So I think that Fernandes could potentially do well in those. And I think he's definitely a viable captaincy option versus Brighton away in game week 3. Now, the next captaincy option we have for this week is Timo Werner. He currently sits at 9.5 million at the time of recording, just shy of 37% owned, has 7 points with no goals but 1 assist to his name in the 2 game weeks, and had a game week score of 2 in game week 2. However, he does have a very good fixture to West Brom away, who just conceded 5 to Everton in the 2 games that he has played, and technically he only really played 1.5 games with the sending off for Christensen. He did have 6 shots, 5 of which were inside the box, and we can see glimpses of him being a fantastic player in the Premier League. He has immense pace, and Chelsea were trying to exploit that in the first half versus Liverpool, which they did get in behind a few times. However, Chelsea didn't really have any runners, so the likes of, you know, Kovacic wasn't able to really get forward. They don't have the likes of Ziyech, who can create from deep. They didn't have Pulisic, who would be like their main like talisman, kind of creating space, which would allow Werner to like overlap or underlap or make runs through the middle and kind of combine with Pulisic in that way, with Havertz kind of playing more the number 10 role. And I think that once they have all their players in and gelling, we'll start to see in a few game weeks time when they're all back fit and doing so, I think that they could be, you know, quite a very promising outlook for their attacking assets in FPL. However, I still think Werner can get something from West Brom. They've conceded a lot of goals in their first 2 games, 3 to Leicester, 5 to Everton, and just Werner's probably going to score in this game in my opinion. He's on the goals imminent table for FF Scout, which means that he's likely to do a goal, much like Che Adams and some other players that are on there. And I think that Werner is prolific enough. I would like to see him on penalties as well, or Havertz, one of the two, because Jorginho is not always going to be in the team when they have the likes of Pulisic and Ziyech and these sorts of players back in there. So I would like to see if either him or Havertz go on pens, and want to see who is involved in that regard. I think that, you know, it's typically the striker should be the one getting the goals, and I think he should have probably taken the penalty versus Liverpool, even if they were going to lose that game, which was almost inevitable, being 2-0 down with, you know, a man sent off. I think that he should have taken the penalty and just kind of got himself, you know, off the mark, as it were, for Chelsea. But I think he's definitely a good captaincy shout this week, just because of the fixture in itself, and I think he has shown glimpses that he can be, you know, quite explosive on his day. The third captaincy option we have on our list is Mohamed Salah. At the time of recording, he costs 12.1 million as a midfielder. He has 23 points across the 2 games that he's played this season, getting 3 goals in the first game that he played and only picking up 3 points in game week 2. He's 37.5% owned, and he does have somewhat of a favorable fixture, even though it is an FDR rating of 3 on the difficulty scale for FPL, versus Arsenal at home. His stats are absolutely ludicrous, which is why I'm considering him potentially myself instead of bringing in a Man City player. I think potentially bringing him back in could be something of note for people who don't have him. He had a hat-trick in game week 1, which is already crazy enough. Across 2 games, he's had 10 shots inside the box, 4 of which were on target. His XGI, which is expected goal involvement, is 2.94, and he's had 3 goals, so he's bang on there. He's had 9 key passes. 9 key passes across 2 games, which is just absolutely insane. And he does have Arsenal at home, which, you know, some people be like, oh, it's one of the, the well-known teams, one of the bigger teams. You can't really expect him to score in that. Well, the last time they played this exact fixture last year, it was a 3-1 win in favor of Liverpool, and Salah scored 2 in that game. So he always seems to terrorize them. He always seems to be in and around it. He just keeps shooting, which is something that you definitely want him to do, because he will definitely score. Now, Leno is a very comparable shot stopper, but I think that Liverpool will just have too much for Arsenal, even though in the recent games, Arsenal have been quite good versus Liverpool and Man City and been, a lot tighter defensively. But I think with Salah in the form that he's currently in, he's definitely going to be someone who's going to be very difficult to stop. And especially if Kieran Tierney is out, potentially, he came out of the game that they played versus West Ham because of, during a warm-up he felt some tightness, and if he's not playing in at left center back, there could be some trouble down that left-hand side, with Kolasinac being just a calamity in himself, and Salah exploiting the space in behind. So we'll definitely see some action from Mohamed Salah this weekend. He's going to get a few chances, and I think he can definitely put at least one of those away, which is why I'm considering him for the captaincy this week if I were to bring him in. The fourth captain on our list is pretty obvious. A lot of people are going to be bringing him in for Aubameyang this week, and that is Kevin De Bruyne. At the time of recording, which is just after the Manchester City game has completed, where they defeated Wolves 3-1. He is at 11.5 million. He got 13 points in that game, 1 goal, 1 assist, the 1 goal being a penalty, and he's just owned by 35% of the players in FPL. And his fixture this coming game week for game week 3 is Leicester at home, which is an FDR rating of 3. Now, Kevin De Bruyne, as we know, on his day is an amazing footballer. He's on penalties, which makes it, even better for him, with the likes of Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden, Gabriel Jesus, the newly signed Ferran Torres, Bernardo Silva. These sorts of players are going to be running all in around the defenses, and they're going to get a lot of penalties this season because of their trickery, because of their speed, because of their intelligence, and I think Kevin De Bruyne is going to be the guy to just put the ball away. He had one, the penalty that he took tonight against Patricio, where Patricio, you could stick 2 goalkeepers in that goal and they're still not saving the penalty. It was with power, precision, and he doesn't look like missing any penalties. And his stats were ridiculous as well. He had 4 shots, 1 goal, 2 shots were inside the box, 6 key passes in a single game, which is absolutely insane. He's on penalties, and even if he just gets that 1 penalty in the game, you're probably thinking City maybe get anywhere from 8 to 10 penalties in the season. He's just instantly a bonus magnet as well because he has so many key passes. If he scores a goal, he's just automatically up to 3 bonus, almost certainly, with the amount of key passes he plays. And with the system that they played tonight, I like him even more because they had Fernandinho and the likes of Rodri playing in a midfield 2, with Kevin De Bruyne kind of playing as the number 10/shadow striker, with Foden and Sterling playing as inside forwards, allowing the fullbacks to overlap. So De Bruyne with a lot of options around him, which makes him just an absolute, FPL point magnet. And I think he's going to be a fantastic captain for game week 3. And the last differential captain we have on our list is another Man City player in Gabriel Jesus. At the time of recording, he's 9.5 million in the forward slot. He got 6 points in the one game that he's played in game week 2 with 1 goal, 0 assists, and he's just under 3% owned. A Manchester City striker. A Manchester City striker, the team that likes to score boatloads of goals. He's the only striker that is actually there. Yes, people will say, oh, false 9 for Sterling, you know, this, that, and the other thing. But Sterling didn't seem too happy, and neither did Pep seem to be happy with him when he came off the field. So I think that Jesus is definitely going to play. He's going to be involved. Pep said that Aguero is going to be out for 1 to 2 months. We were expecting him to be back for if they made it to the Champions League final. That clearly didn't happen. So Jesus is going to be, you know, a shoe-in for a lot of teams. His ownership's definitely going to go up. He's probably going to go up in price before their next game. And I'd be tempted to see if he sees any action in their game on Thursday for the Carabao Cup. I would highly doubt it. And if he isn't, you know, involved in that and he is benched for that game, then you can almost certainly be assured that he's going to be in the starting lineup versus Leicester, and it's definitely going to be a good pick. You know, he can get a lot of chances, but he's going to put at least one away because he's Gabriel Jesus. He's going to get passes from arguably the best midfielder in the world in Kevin De Bruyne. He's going to get chances created by Raheem Sterling, by Mahrez, by Bernardo Silva, you know, these sorts of players. He just has like a plethora of just resources that he can, you know, feed off of. And I think for 9.5 million, he's looking pretty cheap. And I can see a lot of people, if Werner doesn't do anything versus West Brom, I can see them switching to Gabriel Jesus as he has leads away in their Game Week 4 fixture. And some of the stats from tonight's game as well. 3 shots, 2 inside the box, 1 goal he got at the very end. He did have 1 key pass as well, and could have even potentially had more returns if City's passes were just a little bit crisper at certain moments. And he's going to be my differential captaincy for this week. It seems like to be cheating just a bit because it's a Manchester City striker who scored boatloads of goals. But it is what it is. He's under 5%, so I classify him as a differential. So I just definitely think that, you know, even not necessarily this week, but if you do have him or you're on a wild card for this game week coming, I think that Gabriel Jesus should be someone that you should be looking at, and even potentially for the captaincy this coming game week. And that's going to do it for this week's edition for the best captaincy picks. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on the video. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Over 80% of you are not subscribed, so hit that damn subscribe button. It really helps out the channel, and it really shows that you are very supportive. And at the end of the day, this channel is for you guys and to hopefully help you get a better score even than I did this week, even though I thought I had a pretty relatively, you know, good score, especially after our game week 1 score was so low. Also, make sure to turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, give us a follow over on Twitter and Twitch, PilotFlame226 on those platforms. Links are in the description. Twitter, we post a weekly bulletin on Sundays to show you what videos are coming out, as well as we have our league code in our Twitter bio. And over on Twitch this week, we're going to be doing 2 streams. On Friday at 7 p.m. EDT, we'll be doing our Game Week 3 preview stream. So come with questions, and we can talk about, you know, potential wild cards that could be happening, you know, potential transfers that people could be looking at, and we'll do our predictions as we do normally. And then on Saturday, 1 hour before the deadline, we will be up and active with the stream over on Twitch for any last-minute changes that people are looking to do. I'm potentially considering a wild card this week, but you never know, I might be able to patch it up for just 1 game week and see kind of how it goes, and then go from there and maybe dodge a bullet, and hopefully City doesn't do as much damage, because I'm kind of deciding whether I should bring in De Bruyne or should I bring Salah back versus Arsenal at home. So we'll have to see on that front. But thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.